Tell your state legislators what you think about how they need to handle this. Are the state legislatures of Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Georgia, are they going to endorse what happened this week, or are they going to decide otherwise? That's the big question. And there's plenty of other information to kind of share with them. For instance, share with them the Judicial Watch information about how in Pennsylvania they have more people on the rolls than are eligible to vote. Our litigation found at least 800,000 names on the rolls. Our litigation found that in Pennsylvania, the state and the counties were giving different numbers to the courts about how many people were on the rolls. They don't even know how many people were in the rolls. How does that reassure you that the election was conducted in an appropriate way? If you have information about election fraud or voter fraud or something that is of concern to you that you've learned, you should contact your local and state officials about it and contact Judicial Watch. It's at electionlaw@judicialwatch.org, electionlaw@judicialwatch.org. I think I'm getting that right. And secondly, call your senators and call your congressmen and now you need to start calling your state legislators, especially if you live in states where this issue is of a contest. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Wisconsin, arguably Arizona, Nevada, all of those states. So if you are listening or have family members or friends in those states, they should get on the horn. Tell your members of Congress what you think about how they need to handle this. Tell your state legislators what you think about how they need to handle this. Are the state legislatures of Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Georgia, are they going to endorse what happened this week, or are they going to decide otherwise? That's the big question. And there's plenty of other information to kind of share with them. For instance, share with them the Judicial Watch information about how in Pennsylvania they have more people on the rolls than are eligible to vote. Our litigation found at least 800,000 names on the rolls. Our litigation found that in Pennsylvania, the state and the counties were giving different numbers to the courts about how many people were on the rolls. They don't even know how many people were in the rolls. How does that reassure you that the election was conducted in an appropriate way and only those eligible to vote voted? In Nevada, Clark County, they have several counties with more people on the rolls than eligible to vote. Clark County, I think, is the biggest county in Nevada. I think that's the county for Las Vegas. And they have a 102% registration rate. That's the numbers we had just before the election. 154,000 extra names on the rolls just before the election. Does that reassure you that the election was fair and honest in Nevada? Asking you. And if it doesn't, share that detail with your state representative, because that's what they should be factoring in too. What's happening in the other states? North Carolina, there are 1 million extra names on the rolls according to our lawsuit. So if you don't like what's going on, you should be active. You need to be really communicating every day with your state legislator. And it depends on the state. I'm not going to pretend to know how every state is the name of the House. I don't know if it's the House of Delegates or the House of Representatives or the state senators, however your state legislature is composed, or Commonwealth in the case of Pennsylvania. But you should be calling all your state elected representatives, all of them, and the state legislature especially, because they have a unique constitutional ability and duty to appoint electors, and they don't have to follow the popular vote. That's the long and short of it. So I wouldn't recommend, personally, as a matter of policy, that when there's a vote that's pretty fairly administered, it looks like, and There are no issues, at least apparently. I mean, there's no really good reason, in my view, as a matter of policy, for state legislators to stop it, to kind of overturn the will of the people. That would be an abuse, it would seem to me. But when you've got all these indicia of fraud, extra days of counting, the decision to pause counting in places like Philadelphia and Fulton County, Georgia, why on earth would you do that? A timeout? Frankly, the Justice Department ought to be investigating that. You know, and that's another concerning thing. Where is the Justice Department? Where is the Justice Department? Why aren't they securing ballots within reason? Why aren't they policing these places? Why aren't they enforcing court orders? Why aren't they aggressively investigating fraud? Where is Bill Barr? Where is Bill Barr? He hasn't made one public statement since the election about this. I think the Justice Department issued a statement on Twitter, the Justice Department spokesman, telling if you find fraud, call your local FBI office. I mean, talk about a brush off. He should be out there standing for the rule of law and, frankly, going to court to preserve the rule of law along the lines that I've been discussing. So I know it's been a long week. I'm sure you're all stressed out. It's been, you know, we've been working super hard here at Judicial Watch. As I said, we've got these historic lawsuits already active in multiple states, ongoing Freedom of Information Act requests active in the states at issue, looking for opportunities to intervene either with direct litigation or amicus briefs, friend of court briefs. Our lawyers are on it. We're figuring out what to do. But in the end, remember, it's Congress that decides who won the election. So along those lines, you should educate yourself about the Electoral College so that you're able to communicate with your state legislators in an effective way. And it's available. What happened, you know, just Google what happens in a disputed election with the Electoral College. Google or Bing or whatever, DuckDuckGo. And you'll see you'll see what happens. And encourage your senators and congressmen to say, you know what, we're watching. We're watching because we are the ultimate arbiters of what's going on in these states. And I tell you, Pennsylvania, if you want your electors to be counted, they should be saying, you need to do X, Y, and Z in terms of assuring us that fraud didn't take place. But like I said, it's too late in that regard. I don't know how you undo, you know, put the horses back in the barn, the genie in the bottle, the milk back in the carton, whatever mixed metaphor I want to pursue. So, you know, I know probably a lot of you are upset and angry, and you can see I'm not terribly angry. I mean, I knew this was going to happen. It's frustrating that we're seeing what I would call an electoral coup take place with this inappropriate counting after the fact. So I'm just encouraging you to do what we can do. I mean, we see misconduct, and all we can do is what we can do to address it. And there's a constitutional process for addressing this misconduct, and I'm alerting you to it. The media is not going to tell you about it because they don't want you to participate. They want to censor this. They want to pretend there's no such thing as voter fraud. They make fun of our concerns about having elections stolen or a process put in place that no one believes is honest. And Judicial Watch has been virtually alone, literally virtually alone. Until recently, the president started talking about it too. And even then, he was alone on the national stage about the dangers of mail-in ballot frauds. It's awful. And we'll see what happens. Pray for our country. We're going to continue to work over the next months to try to protect the rule of law in this regard. We want to be consistent and principled. It's not about making sure a president we like is elected. It's about making sure the law is followed and elections aren't undermined. So I encourage you to educate yourself about these issues further and contact your state legislators and contact your Congress about their role in the Electoral College so that they can serve as a backstop to any improper efforts to steal the election.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.